In the heart of the city, where concrete towers scraped the sky and neon lights flickered like distant stars, stood an old theater, the kind that seemed to breathe history. Its once vibrant marquee, now dulled by the years, sagged under the weight of forgotten dreams. This was the once celebrated majestic theater, a relic of an era when stars graced its stage and audiences filled its seats. Now, it lay in shadows, echoing with whispers of a past that refused to die. The scent of dust and mildew clung to the air like a shroud, and the peeling wallpaper told tales of grandeur long gone. It was here, in this decaying sanctuary of performance, that our story begins. Sofia Ramirez stood at the foot of the theater's crumbling steps, her heart racing with a mix of trepidation and excitement. She was an aspiring actress, her dreams woven with the threads of every great performance she had ever witnessed. With raven black hair cascading around her shoulders and deep-set brown eyes that burned with ambition, Sofia was determined to breathe life back into this forsaken venue. But it was more than just a dream. It was a lifeline. After years of struggling to make ends meet as a waitress in a nearby diner, this theater represented her last chance to escape the chains of her reality. Her fingers brushed the cold, rusted railing as she climbed the steps, each creak of the wood beneath her feet a reminder of the theater's neglect. She could picture it, a stage alive with color, the sounds of laughter and applause filling the air, the bright lights reflecting off the faces of an enchanted audience. But first, she had to convince the city council to allow her to host a series of community performances aimed at revitalizing the arts. She knew it wouldn't be easy. The council was known for its disdain for artists, dismissing their dreams as impractical whims. As she pushed open the heavy wooden doors, a gust of musty air enveloped her, and she stepped into the vast darkness. Sunlight trickled in through the cracked windows, illuminating the dust motes that danced lazily in the air. The auditorium, with its faded velvet seats and a grand chandelier that hung like a forgotten star, seemed to sigh as she entered. It was a space filled with potential, and she could almost hear the echoes of past performances resonating through the walls. Sofia had a plan. She envisioned a series of plays that would not only showcase local talent, but also tell the stories of the city's residents' stories of struggle, resilience, and hope. Yet, she faced daunting obstacles. The council was set in their ways, prioritizing the renovation of corporate spaces over the arts. They viewed her passion as a nuisance rather than a necessity, a frivolous dream in a city that had long turned its back on creativity. Determined, Sofia began reaching out to the community. She gathered a ragtag group of aspiring actors, writers, and stagehands, each with their own story of struggle. Among them was Marcus, a talented playwright whose works reflected the gritty realities of life in the city. He had once been celebrated, but had fallen into obscurity after a series of disappointments. Then there was Jade, a vibrant singer with a voice that could shatter glass, and Frank, an elderly former stage manager whose love for the theater had never waned despite the years of neglect. Together, they formed a makeshift family, united by a shared dream. Their rehearsals filled the theater with laughter and energy, a stark contrast to the silence that had long dominated its halls. Sofia felt a sense of purpose igniting within her, propelling her to fight harder for their cause. Each rehearsal was a step closer to their goal, a chance to reclaim a space that had been lost to time. Yet, the city council remained unmoved by their passion. Their meetings were filled with indifference, dismissive remarks echoing in Sofia's mind, leaving her feeling defeated. Then came a turning point. At a particularly heated council meeting, Sophia found herself standing before the council members, her heart pounding in her chest. The chamber was packed with spectators, many of whom had come to support her cause. With a tremor in her voice, she spoke passionately about the importance of art in the community, the way it could heal wounds and foster connections. She spoke of the stories that needed to be told, of the voices that had been silenced. But the council members, ensconced in their suits, wore expressions of boredom. Just as Sophia felt her resolve wavering, a voice rang out from the back of the room. It was Marcus, standing tall, his eyes blazing with conviction. Art is not just a luxury, it is a necessity. It is how we make sense of our world. His words struck a chord, igniting a fire in the audience. In that moment, something shifted. The audience erupted in applause, a collective voice demanding change. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions beginning to crack under the weight of the room's energy. It was a small victory, but it was enough to fuel Sophia's hope. As the weeks passed, momentum grew. Local businesses began to support their cause, offering sponsorship and resources. Sophia organized a fundraiser, turning the theater into a vibrant hub of creativity for one night. They transformed the dusty stage into a dazzling spectacle, showcasing snippets of their performances. The community rallied around them, and for the first time in years, the theater came alive again. But just when things seemed to be taking a positive turn, adversity struck. A rival faction within the city council, threatened by the growing support for Sophia and her team, launched a campaign to discredit them. Rumors spread, painting Sophia as a reckless dreamer, someone who had squandered taxpayer money on a lost cause. The news hit her hard, the weight of public opinion heavy on her shoulders. During a rehearsal, Sophia felt the strain of uncertainty weighing her down. The laughter that once filled the theater was replaced by an uncomfortable silence. Her allies, sensing her distress, gathered around her, their expressions filled with concern. "We believe in you, Sophia," Jade said, her voice soft but firm. "We can't let them take this from us. We've come too far." With renewed determination, Sophia pushed through the doubt, leaning on the support of her friends. They decided to hold an open house at the theater, inviting the community to come and witness their progress. It was a risk, but they had to show everyone what they had created, a beacon of hope in a city craving connection. The night of the open house arrived, and the theater buzzed with excitement. As the audience filled the seats, Sophia felt a surge of energy coursing through her. She had poured her heart into this project, and now it was time to share it with the world. As the curtain rose, the audience was transported into a tapestry of stories, tales of love and loss, of struggle and triumph. Each performance was a reflection of their lives, raw and honest. Sophia stood in the wings, watching as her friends transformed before her eyes. It was a moment of magic, a moment she had fought for. But then came the climax of the evening, a performance that would change everything. Marcus stepped onto the stage, his words weaving a narrative that struck at the heart of their struggles. He spoke of resilience in the face of adversity, of how art could transcend the boundaries imposed by society. As he spoke, the atmosphere shifted. People were moved, tears flowed, and applause erupted, shaking the very foundation of the theater. Just as Marcus finished, the doors swung open, and in strode a group of council members, led by the mayor himself. Gasps filled the room as they took their seats. Curiosity etched on their faces. They had come to witness the energy surrounding the theater, to see if the rumors of revival held any truth. Sophia felt a rush of adrenaline. This was her chance to prove them wrong. After the final curtain fell, she stepped forward, her heart racing. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she began, her voice steady. "This theater is not just a building. It is a testament to our community's spirit. We have the power to create, to connect, and to thrive." The mayor leaned forward, captivated by her passion. The audience erupted in applause, and for the first time, Sophia felt that their dreams were not just hers, but belonged to everyone in the room. Yet, as the evening wound down, the opposing faction still loomed. They had been preparing their counterattack, and whispers of scandal soon surfaced. As rumors began to circulate about the financial mismanagement of the project, Sophia felt the weight of doubt creeping back into her heart. With each passing day, the media turned its focus toward the theater, scrutinizing their every move. The council meeting where they had once rallied for support became a battleground, with accusations flying in the air thick with tension. Sophia's resolve began to waver. Was all of this for nothing? But then came a moment of clarity. Frank, the elderly stage manager, pulled her aside after one particularly grueling meeting. "You have to remember why you started this, Sophia," he said, his voice steady. "It's not just about the theater. It's about the people. You've already inspired a community." His words struck a chord deep within her, reigniting the fire that had fueled her journey. Sophia realized that this was more than just a fight for a building. It was about the heart and soul of the city. She gathered her allies, and they strategized for their next move. They decided to host a community forum, inviting residents to share their experiences and stories, shining a light on the impact the arts had on their lives. Sophia knew they needed to shift the narrative, to showcase the real reason behind their fight the community's voice. As the forum unfolded, the theater filled with residents eager to share their tales. One by one, they stood up, recounting how the theater had been a sanctuary, a place where they could express themselves, where their stories mattered. The room buzzed with energy, laughter, and tears as the audience resonated with each shared experience. The council members, now attending with begrudging interest, began to see the power of community support. They couldn't ignore the impact Sophia and her team had created. As the evening progressed, the tide began to turn. Sophia felt a renewed sense of hope blossoming within her. She had fought against the odds and had begun to understand the true meaning of resilience. And just when she thought they had overcome the worst, the climax approached an emergency council meeting where the fate of the theater would be decided once and for all. The room was packed, tension crackling in the air as the council members took their seats. Sophia stood before them, her heart pounding, the weight of the moment pressing heavily on her shoulders. She felt the collective heartbeat of the community behind her, their hopes and dreams woven into her own. "Today, I stand not just for the theater, but for every voice that has been silenced, every story that deserves to be told," she began, her voice rising above the murmurs. "This theater represents resilience, creativity, and the spirit of our community. It is a symbol of hope." The council members listened, their expressions shifting as the gravity of her words sank in. After what felt like an eternity, the mayor finally spoke, his voice measured yet resolute. "We have seen the impact this project has had on our community. We cannot deny its importance." The room erupted into applause, a surge of joy cascading through the audience as hope blossomed anew. The council voted, and as the results were announced, tears streamed down Sophia's cheeks. They had won. The theater would be revitalized, supported by the city and its residents. In the following months, the Majestic Theater underwent a transformation, revitalized by the community's efforts. The scent of fresh paint mingled with the sounds of laughter and creativity, filling the air with renewed life. Sophia stood on that stage, a sense of fulfillment washing over her. She had not only reclaimed the theater, but had created a sanctuary for stories that had long been buried. As the curtain rose on the opening night of their first production, Sophia looked out at the audience, filled with familiar faces, friends, family, and those who had supported her along the way. Their dreams were alive, their stories being told, and for the first time in years, the Majestic Theater stood proud once more. In that moment, she understood that her journey was not just about one theater or one dream. It was about the power of community, the strength found in unity, and the resilience that could emerge from the most challenging of circumstances. And as the applause erupted, echoing through the grand hall, she realized that they had created something far more profound than a performance. They had woven together a tapestry of hope that would inspire generations to come.